Good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Michelle Dutrissa and I'm an independent demonstrator here in New South Wales, Australia. Did I say Stampin' Up demonstrator? I can't remember now. Sorry about that. Hello, Deborah. How are you? Thank you for joining us today. Please jump on. If you haven't been on here before, make sure you say hello and let us know where you're from. It's always great having new people jumping on here each week. So I do lives twice a week, once on Friday afternoons and the other one on Tuesday evenings. At the moment, the Tuesday evening one may not happen until next month. I had to put a stop to them in January just due to the fact that I was very busy with my other job, which is doing clothing alterations, just the lead up to the school going back, lots of school uniforms, and I'm still catching up. But I thought I'm going to try and at least get going with Fridays. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks, my backlog of work will be gone and I will be back to doing Tuesday nights, but I will let you know when that happens. So I've been pretty quiet because of all the work that I've been doing with Stampin' Up, and today, or actually earlier this week, I managed to get a parcel of product in. And one of the products I did get in my box was the Toadstool Gardens, the 6x6 designer series paper. Now let me bring this up so you can actually see it. Hello, Lucia. How are you going? Now this is it here. Let me show you some full sheets here. So this is the designer series paper. Now this is in the Sale-A-Bration catalogue. So you can earn these products for free. And I'll flip these over in a moment so you can see the other side. You can earn these papers for free when you spend $100 here in Australia with Stampin' Up. So you can go onto my online store, which is michelledutrissa@stampinup.net, or you can go to butterfliesandbows.com and you will find a link to my online store there. So once you place an order for $100, at the end it will ask you to choose something from the Sale-A-Bration catalogue. Now that little catalogue looks like, if I can find mine here, is this. And there are products in here that you can get for free when you spend $100, products you can get for free when you spend $200. So, and they've just added some new products to this as well. So there's some products that are actually in the annual catalogue that they've added to the Sale-A-Bration when you spend $100. Now they have got a different code apparently to the ones that you can order from the annual catalogue. So just be very, very aware of that. But if you go to the end of your sale, it will come up where you can choose your Sale-A-Bration catalogues for free. So it should be that you could choose them from there. So these things, some of these things may be starting to sell out now because we've already had this running for a month. So just be aware, maybe not everything in this catalogue will be available and some things may be starting to go down. So these are just some of the products that you can earn. Now these ones here, spend $100 and you'll get them for free. And there are a couple back here. This one here, you need to spend $200 and you'll get both the stamp set and the dies for free. And there is also this one here, spend $200 and get this one for free. So both of those I do know because I was looking this morning, they are still there on that Sale-A-Bration section on our online store. But just be aware that some of these may or may not be getting limited in stock. I'm not quite sure. I haven't checked, but there are extra items, which is always great. So if you don't have a copy of, now this finishes at 2, by the way, at the end of February. So there's only one this month left, so only a couple of weeks to go. If you don't have a copy of the mini catalogue and you would like a mini catalogue, please let me know. I've still got a few of those available. So this is out of the Sale-A-Bration catalogue, and this is what I thought we'd play with today. Now there is a stamp set and punch that goes with these. in the mini catalogue. Let me see if I can bring that up. I actually haven't purchased that. Just for the fact that I have just had too much on my plate and haven't even been able to think about it. So that's it there. Now, this is retails at, if you buy the bundle, $68.25. So you would only need to buy roughly, or spend roughly, another $17, if I'm thinking correctly, or is it 27? Let me just think my maths. Sorry, my brain has been a bit fried of late. So I've got 100, unless I minus that 68. I'm not worrying about 25 at the moment. That's $32. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. 8, 9, 10. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, so you'd need to spend another $32 to be able to get this paper for free to go with this bundle. Now, as I said, I haven't purchased this bundle. It does look fantastic. I've seen some beautiful cards made with this, but look, mushrooms aren't my thing, so you don't need to purchase everything out of every catalogue. That's the beauty of it. There's a lot of stuff in there. But I thought I loved the colours of the paper, and I thought, well, let's try making a card where we don't need to do a huge amount of stamping and let the paper be the hero. So that's what we're going to do today. Now, I have chosen a sentiment, and another item I got from my order was the Everyday Archers stamp set and dies, and I've just popped my catalogue away. Let me just see if I can find this in here quickly so I can show it to you. This is again in the mini catalogue. I haven't even had a chance over the last month to even pick up a stamp. I have tried to do a little bit of scrapbooking last weekend. Didn't get very far with it. So just bear with me as I sort of try to find this in here. I'm sure it's in here. Or no, I think actually it's on the online exclusives. That's why I can't find it in the mini catalogue. See, I'm a bit rusty. Online exclusives, go and check them out. They're on our online store, and you'll find the Everyday Archers stamp set, and there are dies that go with it, and these are the dies. Now, I box everything up together, so I've just taken it out of the packaging. So you can purchase both of these as a bundle and get your 10% off, but it is in the online exclusives, so go and check it out. The wording is done in an arch, so you can stamp it in an arch around the dies or inside the die, whatever you choose. I'm actually going to use only the sentiment hello, and I'm using the smallest die, which I should have right here. So there's one smaller, so there's quite a few dies in this. It's really great. But I'm going to use that as my label. Okay, so we're going to make a very simple card. Let's get started before I get myself too much in much more trouble. So I've already put my stamp on my stamp block. I just want to give it a little bit of a clean. Yeah, they're interesting, the chair. It's the first time I'm playing with them today. So, I mean, I must admit I got my box probably earlier in the week, but I thought I didn't even open it till this morning because I didn't want to tempt myself away from my sewing. So I just really had to get that done. I'm just going to stamp that off a couple of times, give that a bit of a rub. So what I've got here, I've chosen some papers. So let me just move some of this out of my way. So cardstock I'm going to use for this card today. I've chosen my Granny Apple Green as my matte. I've chosen Melon Mambo as my card base. I'm going to use a little piece of basic black to do some embossing on, and I've also got my basic white. I'm also going to be using one of the ribbons out of the annual catalogue. Let me just show you this one here. So number 11, which is a combo pack, petal pink and white, and I'm using the white ribbon out of that pack. So in this one here, you get, it's a combo pack, so you get 2 ribbons. You get round about, didn't write on there how much, but probably it says 5 yards. There's probably around about, there probably is 5 yards on each one because it's slightly more expensive than some of the others. The others sort of range around about that $13 mark. This one's here is about $17.50. So there's 4.6 meters on a roll of white and on the roll of petal pink. But we're just going to be using the white today on our card. So that's where I've got my ribbon from. So let me pop that away. It's amazing when you haven't done this for a little while how rusty you get. Hello from Alberta. How are you? How are you going, Marie? You're cool there? A very cold wind. Well, we've got a top of 30 today, which is quite hot for us here. Though I was telling someone yesterday, I think our summers have been very mild at the moment. But I know other parts of Australia have been very hot. So these are the papers I'm chosen to use. And I'm going to make this one my main one. I'm doing a trim in that. As I said, I've got my melon mumbo. So my card base, I'm doing a tent fold, and it is half a sheet of A4. So if you're using the imperial letter size, then it's half a sheet of that. So this is 10.5 centimeters by 29.9, and I've scored that in half at 14.9. I have got a piece of my granny apple green, and I've cut this down to 10 centimeters by 14.4. I'm going to do a card insert also in granny apple green, which is 10 centimeters by 14.4, and I've got a basic white piece to go on top, which is 9.7 by 14.1. I've got to think here. Then I've cut 2 pieces of my designer series paper. Now this piece here is cut slightly smaller than my granny apple green, so it is 14.1 in length, but I've cut it 2.5 centimeters in width. My other piece of designer series paper, I've also cut this at 9.7 in width, and I've cut it at 14.1. Now there's 2 ways we can do this. When we adhere this onto here, we could adhere this piece down, which is slightly smaller. It's about 3 mil smaller, or 1.5 mil all the way around, or probably about 1/8 of an inch. And then we could adhere that down on top of that like that. But what I thought I'm going to do, because I really want to do a bit of decoration also on the inside of my card, and because I've cut this here piece at 2.5, I know I don't need a section in here of around about 2 centimeters. I want it to overlap a little bit, but so I thought what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece, and we're saving on cardstock, and I'm going to cut a 2.5 centimeter strip off. Now, when I look at this, I've got my mushrooms down here, and I've got mushrooms there, nothing but much here. If I cut 2 centimeters off here, I'm only going to be left with these 2 little mushrooms here. If I cut 2 centimeters off here, I've still got all of those mushrooms. So I'm thinking about where I'm going to cut it. So I'm going to cut 2 centimeters off this strip here. Could actually make it a bit more than that if I wanted to, but I think 2 centimeters is okay for my strip. So I'm going to cut 2 centimeter strip off there. That piece is going to go on the insert of my card, and then this piece here I can pop on the front of my card. Okay, so that way we're not sort of mucking around and wasting a lot of paper, and also I'm getting the layout exactly the way I want it. Of course, you could even flip these pieces around. If you cut 2.5 centimetres off that and you wanted to use that side as the edge piece here, you could do that as well. So let's start by adhering these all together. So I'm going to grab my card insert first. I've got my multi-purpose glue, which, as you know, I love. Now, I've discovered that I probably love using this when I'm mainly doing card making, not so much when I'm doing scrapbooking. It's not as forgiving with scrapbooking, but fantastic for card making because you have got that time to move this around into the position you want. So that is going to go from end to end on that piece, just like that. Now, I've probably got this just that little fraction difference in length. So I'm going to just grab my paper snips here and just trim that down. It's only a hair, just that little bit there. Hello, Linny, how are you? Now, just excuse me and let me just take a drink. Okay. So now my insert piece is going to adhere to the mat. Now, if you had a birthday sentiment or any other sentiment that you like, you could use that. And if you don't have the arches, you could very easily use one of our circles or a strip from either the Stylish Shapes or the Circles of Nature dies. I had to think. Okay, so there's our insert piece, and I'm going to attach that now to the inside of my card. So you could use any designer series paper to make a card like this. It doesn't have to be this paper, but I just thought, well, I've got the paper, but I don't have the punches and the stamps. So let's see what we can create if we don't have those, but we still want to use all of this. So I'm just going to pop that to one side, and I'm going to bring in my mat that I want on the front of my card. Now, I've cut this piece here, and as I said before, it's cut a little bit wider than what I require. So I'm going to glue this piece down first. And I'm just leaving a little bit of an edge all the way around because I have cut that a little bit smaller than my mat. Make sure that is all nice and smooth. I'm just going to flip that over and give that a really good rub on the back just to make sure that that glue in there has spread nicely. And then with this one here, we're going to pop this one here on this edge. Now, making sure that I line everything up. Whoops. It's where it's good to have that little bit of a slip there just to make sure everything is where you want it. I just want to bring that in just a fraction. That's it. Beautiful. Pop my lid on my glue. So there we go. So there's our card front and our card base, and this is going to adhere on to there like that. But before I do that, what I want to do is grab a scrap of my basic black, and I'm going to use some white embossing powder. So we've got the Wow embossing powder, which is in our catalogue. I'm just going to grab my little tray here, and I have got my, now remember these plus your tweezers and brush, so you can get your embossing buddy, a brush to brush away excess of your embossing powder, and a pair of tweezers. You can, as far as I know, you can still purchase all of this on the online store, which is a really fantastic little tray to have. The only thing I've sort of learnt to do is you won't get out every single little scrap of embossing powder out of this. You'll get most of it, but just give it a bit of a wash after you've used it and let it dry, because if you get your black and white embossing powder mixed up, you'll have a very multicoloured titles on your cards. So I just recommend we give it a wash, because even the powder could get caught up in that little screw bit down there. You're watching and you're prepping for your Zoom class tomorrow. Good on you. You can send you some warmer weather. I'd love to. I'd love for you to send me some of your cold. But it won't be too long and we'll be going into winter here. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp that. And I'm just using the word hello. And I like this because it's nice and bright. Now, I probably should have used a foam mat underneath this, but I'm hoping I'm going to be right. We'll see. It looks like I've got a good coverage there. Because photopolymer stamps, you should use foam mat. So let's pop this into here. I haven't used this tray much because I had it sort of stored somewhere and I found it while I was cleaning up after Christmas and given it a new home. So it's now handy so I can use it all the time. Okay, because I've used that embossing buddy, that just stops any, because the powder will grip to whatever oils and things you might have on your finger. The Versamark acts a little bit like a glue, but it's not actually a glue. You can let it dry and use it as a watermark on things. But it just pop that powder into here, onto that powder until you can heat it, and then it will stick to your card. Now, as I was saying before, you probably won't get all those little bits completely out. You can use that brush. Where have I popped that brush? Just here. You can use that brush and brush all this down, which will help you get most of that. But you may not get all of it. So if you've used a different colour embossing powder, you really don't want those little bits that are clinging in there to stick on. So that's why I would just recommend giving that a good rinse after you've finished using it. Let it dry and then it's ready to go again. And that just keeps everything nice and clean. So let me just grab my heat gun. Even my heat gun has got a new home, which is good. It's more accessible now. And we're just going to heat this up. You can heat it from the top or you can heat it from the bottom. If your cardstock starts to curl a little bit, just heat it from the other side to flatten it out again. And you just want to keep heating this until that comes a glossy white. And doesn't that look fantastic? Such a bold font on your cardstock like that. And I think that's just going to stand out beautifully on our card. Oh, thank you. I will be looking out for that nice Canadian coolness. Though I think some places in Canada you get lots of snow. Don't know whether I want that much snow though. Debbie, you're so over the heat. Some rain would be great. Yeah, I must admit, we've had had a few storms around. I had a bit of thunder here the other day, but we didn't really get much rain out of it. I'm going to have to probably replace these plates soon. Okay, so here's our mini cut and emboss machine, and I've got that smallest little die, and I'm going to cut that out at about there. Now, I'm going to use some of my tape here just to hold this down. And I probably want it to go a little bit, the hello being a little bit in that curve. And I'm going to pop that through just a little bit at an angle. And that's just so we get a nice even cut right across. Got a few things that have got new homes in my workroom. I've got some old shelves that I had in the shed, and I brought that in, and I've got my cut and emboss machines now sitting down here on these shelves underneath. So it's really good. It's nice and handy. Whereas before I had to lean across over to another lot of shelves to get them when I'm working, but now they're in working like I can reach them quite easily. That's why I've got the heat gun over one side of me now and the other on the other. So that's going to go somewhere there like that. So what I thought we'd do is we'd grab this ribbon, and I'm going to put a strip of ribbon at either end, or going down that join basically. And I'm just going to cut a piece there. I'm going to grab my tear and tape, and I'm just going to pop a little bit, find the edge of it, a little bit of this up here, and I'm going to pop a little bit of that, a little bit down the bottom. Because this ribbon is not the, it's a very thick sort of ribbon. It's got a little bit of a weave in it, like a diagonal stripe. So it's not, I don't find it a really great ribbon for tying bows and that in it, but I'm going to show you a nice little, well, I'm hoping to, if it's going to look okay, way we can do a little faux knot in the front of our card. So we're going to pop that across there like that, and I've just got it slightly longer than where we need it, and we're going to just fold that over onto that tear and tape. Don't pull it too tight. We just want it to go just comfortably over and fold it. Okay. And if you feel that it is a little bit too tight, you can just pull that up, loosen it off just a fraction, and bring that back down again. Now, at this point in time, I'm not adding any glue dots or anything on there because I just want that to sit there like that. I'm going to bring my card back in, and I'm going to add some dimensionals to the back of my card. Because I've got a little bit of bulkiness on the back from the ribbon, the dimensional is just going to give it a little bit more height, so I don't have lumps and bumps coming from the back of my ribbon through. Pop a couple there in the middle, so then I'm not getting any sag in the middle of my card. Oops, I almost put that in my water. Okay, so all those dimensionals are off. Let's bring in our card, making sure everything is the right way. And we're just going to drop that into place. Whoops, I think I've got it that little bit too high there. Sometimes I like to use the longest length, which is the length of the card, as my guide. And now I've got it a little bit. Let's just see if we can try a third time and get this right. I'll just lay that flat, might work easier. That's better. Give that a nice push down. So there's that. And I'm going to add this onto dimensionals as well. But I'm going to use black dimensionals, I think, on this one. Just for the fact that they're there. Need to use them up. Pop one there. And because our sentiment here is all on black, you won't see them. So I think that's the good thing. Now, I was thinking of going that underneath there, or we could go, I might take that on top, I think. I'm going to take that up a little bit higher so it's not too close. You don't want to have your sentiments or anything too close to the bottom down there, because then it tends to look like it's falling off your page. So I just want to have that across there like that. Hello, Sue. How are you? That's okay, Sue. Pop those all to one side. Now, let's see how we go. I'm just going to cut a length here, probably only of about 10 centimetres. May not even need all of that. I'm going to pop that underneath that ribbon. There is a right and wrong side, so I'm popping with the wrong side up. Just see if I can twist this a little bit so we get, there we go. So I've just twisted my, because I popped it with the wrong side facing upwards, and when I tied that in a knot, I had one tail in the right side, one tail on the wrong side. So before I've pulled it tight, I've just twisted the one that was going with the wrong side up, still up, and I'm just pulling that tight just there like that. You can pull that down a little bit if you want to have it slightly closer to your sentiment. So now I've got both of those like that, and this having a bit of a stripe in it makes it really easy for making sure I've got nice straight cut. And there you are. There's a fun little card. Just really, really simple, using just your designer series paper with just a little bit of stamping, a nice bold sentiment so it stands out, but it doesn't take away from, I think there's so much detail in this designer series paper that it just doesn't take away from it. So just a really, really simple, fun little card, easy to create. Lots of fun colours, with being the Granny Apple Green and the Mellow Mambo. So that is really going to pop. So let me just pop me back up on here again. There we go. So thank you very much for joining us today. I will try to get this blogged in the next couple of days. I still have lots of sewing to do, so I've got to get back into that as well. And I will try to get this up. But again, it's just very, very basic measurements. I work on basically my card base is 10.5 by 14.9, and then the first, my mat, is always 0.5 centimetre down from that. So that makes it 10 by 14.4. And then I take my next one down by 3 millimetres, which is 9.7 by 14.1. So if you're going to do that and you're looking at that in the Imperial, you'll be looking at your card base, just the front measurement of it is 4¼ by 5½. Take it down 1/4 inch from that to give me my mat size, which would be 4 by 5¼ and then your next size down, I take it down 1/8, which would then be 3 7/8 by, this is really making me think, 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I think I've got it right. So they're my basic card measurements. Now, and you probably will find that if you look back at most of my cards, that is my standard measurements that I use on everything, because I like to have that bigger distance and then just a little bit of a distance. That's just what appeals to me. So I hope you find that helpful. I hope you've enjoyed this card. Pull out your designer series paper and have a little bit of a play, even if you don't have the stamps and the punches or the dies to go with it, and see what you come up with. Anyway, take care. I will definitely see you next Friday. As I said, I probably won't be on this Tuesday, just for the fact that I've still got lots more sewing to catch up on. And once I've got that back all up and all done and things organised a little bit more as far as my alterations business is concerned, I will be back doing Tuesday nights. So take care. Again, thank you for joining us. Thank you, Marie, for joining us from Alberta, and everybody else joining us here in Australia. And Deborah, I hope you get some nice cool weather soon. Okay, take care. Bye for now.